Breaking news. The Detroit Lions have made another signing in the last few hours, and while it may not be what fans were expecting, it certainly adds an intriguing piece to the roster. I don't know about you, but I trust Brad Holmes' potential, and I believe he knows what's best for the team. If you think the Lions will make it to the next Super Bowl, hit the like button. If you think they won't, hit the dislike button. Anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts. It's really important to us. Man, seriously, the Lions are a great team, and I believe we'll make it to the Super Bowl this time. Now, let's talk signings. The team signed former New York Jets tight end Kenny Yaboa to a one-year deal, a move that has received mixed reactions. On the surface, it looks like another depth addition, another name added to the 90-man roster. But is there more to this move than meets the eye? And what does it say about the Lions' approach to roster construction as the NFL draft approaches? Let's break it down. Yaboa, an undrafted free agent out of Ole Miss, brings solid size to the position at 6'4" and 245 pounds. He'll turn 27 this season and has bounced around the league, spending most of his time with the Jets. His output, 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown in 2024. Not exactly eye-popping numbers, but he's shown potential as a big play threat and could offer value in specific roles. So why did the Lions bring him in? The most logical explanation is that Yaboa is being viewed as a possible replacement or competition for Shane Zylstra, whose future with the team remains unclear. The move signals that Detroit is still looking for depth at tight end, but it also raises a bigger question. Why is the front office so focused on these low-profile additions while the team's most glaring need, pass rush, continues to be ignored? Let's address the elephant in the room, the pass rush. Fans have been screaming about it. Analysts have pointed it out. Even former players have said that if Detroit wants to win a Super Bowl, they need to improve their ability to pressure opposing quarterbacks. Yet, here we are, talking about a backup tight end. The frustration is palpable. The Lions cut Zadarius Smith, leaving a hole on the edge. And, so far, the team's only notable signings have been DJ Reader and DJ Reed. Both solid additions, but neither directly addresses the need for a dominant pass rusher. And with free agency winding down, the message is clear. If Detroit doesn't make a splash move soon, their best shot at fixing the problem will be in the draft. That puts enormous pressure on Brad Holmes to absolutely nail his picks at 28 and 60. Now, let's be real for a second. Not every move is going to be a blockbuster. Building a winning roster requires depth, and special teams contributors matter. Yaboa's scouting profile suggests he could carve out a role as a special teamer and situational tight end. He has good vertical speed, a knack for tracking the ball in the air, and some sneaky yards after catch ability. But he also has weaknesses. He's not a dominant blocker, struggles with focus drops, and has been inconsistent as a route runner. So, where does this leave us? Are we really supposed to get excited about this signing? The reality is, this move itself isn't the issue. It's the bigger picture. Fans are watching other teams bolster their defensive lines, while the Lions are making what feel like minor tweaks. And that leads to a difficult but necessary conversation. If Brad Holmes doesn't get this team over the hump in the next 3 years, should the Lions consider moving on? It's a hot take, but hear me out. Holmes has done a phenomenal job rebuilding this franchise. The Lions went from a laughingstock to a legitimate contender under his leadership. He earned his first contract extension. No debate there. But at some point, good isn't good enough. If Detroit doesn't make a Super Bowl by 2027, tough decisions will have to be made. It's all about expectations. The bar has been raised. Winning the NFC North isn't enough anymore. Playoff appearances aren't enough. This team is built to win now, and that means no more excuses. If Holmes delivers, he'll be hailed as a franchise legend. If not, the tough questions will have to be asked. So, back to Yaboa. Is he going to make or break the Lions season? But this signing represents a pattern that's either part of a master plan or a troubling reluctance to go all in. The bottom line? If Detroit wants to take the next step, they need to address the pass rush. And fast. So what do you think, Lions fans? Is this just another routine roster move, or is it a sign that the front office isn't being aggressive enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And that's where the real frustration kicks in. Because if the plan is to build this team into a Super Bowl contender, then why does it feel like the Lions are tiptoeing around the one thing that could actually get them there? Let's rewind for a second. We all saw what happened last season. The Lions had an incredible run, the best we've seen in decades. But when the stakes were highest, when the competition was at its fiercest, there was one glaring weakness that stood out: the inability to consistently pressure elite quarterbacks. That wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't bad luck. It was a roster flaw, and it's a flaw that has yet to be fixed.
Look around the league. The best teams, the teams that actually go all the way, have dominant defensive lines. The 49ers, the Chiefs, the Eagles when they made their run. What do they all have in common? Game wreckers up front, pass rushers, who make life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. Now Detroit has one in Aidan Hutchinson. No doubt about that. But beyond him, who's the second guy? Who's the reliable complement on the other side? The answer is no one. And that's a problem. Yet here we are, discussing a tight end who might not even make the final 53-man roster. And that's no disrespect to Kenny Yaboa. The guy is grinding for a roster spot, and he deserves credit for that. But at the end of the day, these kinds of signings aren't going to be the difference between hoisting a Lombardi trophy and falling short. So what's the real plan here? Because right now, it looks like the Lions are either playing the long game with a big move still to come, or they're hoping to just get by with what they have. And if it's the latter, that's a risky approach. Brad Holmes has proven to be a sharp talent evaluator, especially in the draft. But the pressure is now on him like never before. If the Lions are truly banking on fixing this problem in the draft, then they absolutely must hit on their selections. No margin for error, no more projects, no more developmental guys who might be good 2 years from now. They need immediate impact players, guys who can step in and make a difference from day one. And that's where the concern comes in. Because what happens if they don't land that elite pass rusher in the draft? What if the board doesn't fall their way? What if the guy they want is gone before they pick at 28? What's the backup plan? There's an old saying in the NFL, hope is not a strategy. And right now, it feels like Detroit is hoping the answer presents itself rather than aggressively going out and securing it. Again, it's not about Yaboa. It's about the bigger picture. It's about the sense of urgency, or lack thereof. And it's about making sure this team capitalizes on the window they have right now. Because, make no mistake, the window is open. Jared Goff is playing the best football of his career. The offensive line is elite. The weapons are in place. The coaching staff is strong. The culture has shifted, but if you don't maximize your opportunity when it's in front of you, it can disappear in an instant. Injuries happen. Roster turnover happens.